Yo, dude.
Yo.
Thank you for doing this. Zach?
Yes.
Appreciate you doing this.
Honored.
When I think back of like our relationship or how I knew you, I like doing this part. But you were a guy that I looked up to really early on for some reason. Or maybe I related with because I thought, I don't know, I thought you kind of remind me of my brother.
Older brother?
Yeah, I got an older brother. And so maybe I was able to see him and you. And, we were baptized together. I think about that.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that. But
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I've been looking forward to talk to you. So I know you're going to start us off with a worship song.
Yeah, well, it's a worship song. It's a little jingle I've just been messing with. I guess you could worship. You could worship to it. It's yeah, I'll just play it for you. Lauren wanted me to play a song. I'm shy.
Yeah.
All right. Lord, I thank you for sunshine. I thank you for rain. I thank you for joy. I thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. My verse. It's unavoidable in life, it takes some hits. Yeah, there's gonna be some days might feel like it's the end. But if we praise his name, rejoice in all your sufferings, cause it's only temporary. We know how to store. Thank you for sunshine. Thank you for pain. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. A beautiful day. That's all I got so far, brother. But hey.
Yo, that's sick.
We'll get another verse in there.
But what does that do for you? Like inside, to be able to worship.
Dude, it's funny you ask because when I first got to TC and saw that they had a piano on stage, I knew I couldn't touch it because that was one of the rules. Like, you're not allowed to go on stage. But like how much fulfillment that brought me, like, it's like it all came back to me. It's like, man, I need to play that piano so bad. Like, it's like therapy for me.
Yeah.
Music. Yeah, if I could describe it, it's when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling on top of the world, like, it levels me out. It can go either way, you know, depending on what I'm playing. But like the praise and worship aspect of it, like, I don't feel full unless I have that in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I have to, like, I need it. Like, every day I start with praise and worship. Like, that's the first thing I put on my way to work. So it plays a big, I need it, yeah. Without it, like I've gone without it, you know, and you can tell. Like, there's a big difference in how your day goes and how your outlook is on things and problems when they come. Like, it just, yeah, it's a good reminder for me, and it's therapy. It's like how I get my frustrations out, my anger, feelings.
You're out there.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a time at TC where I felt like God was really teaching me the benefits of worship, and like I started to fall in love with it there. And during that time, you were like one of the worship leaders, and so I was excited to talk to you because there's this moment when you're worshiping, right? Or it would happen to all of us. And it would feel like time would stop. And things would slow down. There'd be like a stillness or like a presence that you could feel.
Yes.
And we would just all want to sit in that moment. Just bask in
His
it.
presence.
Dude, I remember I'd be crying. Like, those were times where I was very, like, thankful. Thankful times. A lot of stuff happens. What happens for you as like a worship leader? How do you know when that moment's there? Do you feel
When
it?
I don't have to think about what I'm doing.
Really?
Without a doubt. When I'm, like, one thing I do a lot before I go, like, play at church and stuff, is I always say a prayer and I say, God, this is for you. I can't do this without you. Like, I am going to do my best right now. I want you to know that this is for you and not for anybody else. So that, like, when I'm singing, my thoughts are more vertical. I'm not thinking about what other people think. That's when it comes out the best, and that's when I don't have to think, and that's when that moment is for me, when I feel His presence the most.
Yeah, it's like you enter a flow state kind of,
Yes.
but it's a godly thing.
Yes, and it doesn't happen all the time. And,
Yeah.
a lot of times there's been times in my life where I wasn't living the right way, but I stayed involved in worship because I knew I needed that accountability. And those times where I wasn't living right, it doesn't come out the same.
Really?
It doesn't feel as natural. It doesn't give me the fulfillment that it normally would. And I know it's like God's nudge, like you're not gonna feel full. You're not gonna feel 100%, without, while you're living this way. Like you have to walk it and talk it. You start to feel like a hypocrite, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
So it holds you back from getting into that state.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because there are times sometimes I feel like I had the opportunity to teach at TC, BCD, Basic Christian Development, but there were times I wasn't living right, and it was always like this tough thing, because you still want to honor God, but also you're convicted by it at the same time. Like, how do you get through that time of
I think it's important to worship I think it's important to keep doing what you're doing, even if you feel like a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because I think we're supposed to worship through those hard times, regardless of where we're at. Like God knows our hearts, and He sees where we're at, and He sees the guilt and the shame and the hypocrisy. That's the Holy Spirit, nudging you. I think it's important to continue and push through, regardless of where you're at in your walk or how you're stumbling. And it's hard to do. It'd be really easy to just stop doing it.
Yeah,
way easier.
Yeah.
But
that would be the answer. To stop.
Right. Stop. You're a hypocrite. Stop doing it. At least, if you're gonna be a sinner, you might as well live like one. No, I don't think that at all. I think, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Christians don't go to church. We don't praise God because we have it all together.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Exactly.
We need God because we suck.
Yeah.
As humans, we suck. You can't be perfect. You can't not sin. It's unavoidable. So praise God through those times. I think it's important to push through. And I think that also is like a way of spiritual battle.
Yeah.
I think you battle Satan when you're going through those times and you're still at church raising your hands.
Yeah. Did you always worship like that, or did you grow up in a Christian?
Yeah, so I did. I grew up in a Christian home. I was in church, very involved in church. My whole family, all my cousins played on the worship teams growing up. My mom and dad's side of the family, all church-going people. We were there Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings, Sunday nights. Very involved. My dad played basketball on Mondays. I'd go shoot. That's where I got all my skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about putting a basketball hoop out there.
As well you should. Yeah, we're at your restaurant or your store. What do you?
Yeah, Happy Jake's. So my little brother and I run this store. It's named after him. He found the gold mine. It took some big risks, and I'm helping him run it. And yeah, it's going really well. We just got this nice smoker. We're out here in beautiful Dowagiac, Michigan, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but it's going well, man. Lord, this whole thing, this has all been prayed over. It wasn't just something that threw together, and there's no other reason that it's been successful other than the fact that we told God before we started this place, before we took over and made it Happy Jake's, we went through and we anointed all the doors.
Yeah.
Jake and I, we said a prayer over it, and this, the only reason it's going to get bigger is so that we can reach more people, and that's the whole goal. I mean, even though it's a liquor store, grub, food, liquor, bait, it doesn't mean you can't reach the lost still.
Yeah.
And I think I think the bigger we get, the more money we're going to be able to give to churches, the more money that we're going to be able to invest in side gigs and things that will reach the lost. Like, that's how we're looking at it. Like, this is just the beginning of something big. And the goal, the whole reason we're here is to show God's love and reflect Him. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason it's done well, in my opinion.
Dude, that's awesome. Did
Yeah.
you ever see this for yourself? Like, I know there wasn't always time where you were like,
You know,
when you look at the goals that you have now, like the things you want to honor God with, like there was a time when that wasn't that way, right?
my dream, if you asked me when I was a kid, I remember this, what I wanted to do when I grew up, I wanted to own a skate shop with a half pipe in the back. That was always the thing. I had a half pipe.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be a business owner and be able to make my own schedule and feed my family and not have to, work under somebody else for long hours. And a long time went by. I never thought I'd be doing this. I got laid off like a year ago from a job that I was doing, a career type job,
Yeah.
the fire protection. And it was a really good job. It gave me the ability to pay off a lot of debt from when I was hucking and bucking.
Yeah.
And gave me the ability to buy a house right in the midst of COVID too. Praise the Lord. That was a miracle in itself. And it provided for my family. So it was a good job, but eventually things got slow. I got laid off, and I was so frustrated at the situation. I told myself, I am never going to work for anybody else ever again. I'm never going to depend on somebody else to feed my family. I don't want to ever have to worry about whether I have a job the next day. Like, I need to do something that I know I can rely on. So that was when I decided to start Resurrection Detail.
Yeah.
And started that business. And this is only our second year in. The detail company still exists. You can go to our Facebook, Resurrection Detail. We're still doing details, but it's been slow. And this store has been a big blessing to me because I was working for sometimes 5 jobs. I was doing a little bit of snow plowing during the winter time.
Good.
They like to smoke it.
Yeah.
But I was working like a madman trying to pay my mortgage until this detail company took off. And then this venture came, and I was able to consolidate my jobs from working 3, 4, 5 jobs into just this and my detail company. So
When people come here and they use your detailing job, do they know that you're a believer and kind of...
the name kind of gives it away. Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. The detail.
Resurrection Detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't always go out of my way to say that, but I mean, the slogan on the t-shirt, the shirts we have say, bringing life back since, would it be 1 BC? Is that the correct way to say it?
I don't know.
Well, the first year.
I like
First
it.
year ever.
Dude, that is good.
Maybe we
Bringing
should
life
change
back.
it. Bringing life back since the first year.
I like it.
The first of the first.
You went through some hard times though.
Yeah.
Like before the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Will you kind of talk a little bit about that? Or?
Yeah, we can talk about that. You mean as far as like sobriety and stuff goes?
So we met at Teen Challenge. We both had some addiction issues, and maybe I kind of mentioned earlier. One thing I think I related well with you about is when I look at you, I don't see an addict. And people always said that about me, that they couldn't believe that I was doing the stuff I was doing.
You don't look like one either.
Right, so I think right away I was like, oh, another guy similar, the looks don't always match up to what.
Yeah, just because I look like a prep.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's
Doesn't mean
real.
I'm not a drug addict.
Yeah.
Don't let the pretty boy face fool you.
How long were you stuck in that life?
I think it started for me, and it started in high school. Trying to fit in. My parents had moved to Michigan to start a church. We helped start the Gateway Church in Mesquite.
Oh.
You been there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Pastor Ben.
Yeah.
Pastor Ben Beck. That was my children's pastor in Ohio before we moved to Michigan.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Ben and Jessica Beck. Still pastors over there. But yeah, we moved here to help start that, and in my high school year, I think just trying to fit in. I had a friend that I moved here with that I knew, and he kind of, I got stabbed in the back a lot, I guess. Like he would talk bad about me in front of, with other guys around. He wouldn't include me in things, and he was the only person I knew when I moved here. And I think when that happened, I kind of felt rejected, and I leaned towards hanging out with other people, and it just so happened the other people that I hung out with were, getting into mom and dad's liquor cabinet, smoking weed every now and then. And that's when all that started, and it went through high school. I ended up getting put on painkillers my senior year. It was right after I graduated, due to a shoulder injury I had.
You were an athlete too, right?
I was an athlete, yes.
You
Baseball,
played college
football.
soccer, didn't you?
Played college soccer, yeah, as a walk-on.
Yeah. I remember getting
had a couple
tore up
goals
on
that season.
Dude, you would come on the field when we were playing and just be so hard to try to keep up.
That was fun, dude.
I love those
Tell me out.
Yeah.
Man,
Just saying.
the soccer games got serious.
Yeah.
You and Paul were always the two that, you and Paul, I was just like, you were the only two I worried about.
I loved playing, dude.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Paul had some skill too.
He was a beast.
He just wasn't as fast because he wasn't playing basketball with us
Yeah.
at night.
I miss that. Sports with everyone and stuff.
Yeah,
But there's
fellowship.
Yeah, that's what it is. So the injury started you on the pain medication.
It was a bad doctor, man, and I think I kind of knew what I was doing when I went to her, because I had sought out a doctor who I knew would give me what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go through physical therapy. I had just had my first kid. Just gotten married, shotgun wedding. I was in a bad place in life, and those painkillers helped me not think about where I was at.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it before. Like, it just kind of numbs you to the point where you know your problems are there, but you're not dealing with them, so they just stack up.
Yeah.
Over time, and it gets to like a breaking point, and that's when you start using those opiates for like, all right, now I'm not just taking these for pain. Now I'm taking them with the intention of like nodding out. Like, I want to nod out tonight.
Yeah.
I want to be to that point. And that's how it started, just little by little, and accessibility was always an issue. They cracked down on painkillers, and then it became real easy to get heroin.
Yeah.
You play that game. It's, a story that's probably been told, a million times. Doctor gave it to me.
Yeah.
Ended up on heroin and using needles.
I think for other people that's they can't see the transition. Like for us, it seems natural.
You can't remember a certain point where there's a transition. It
Right.
just kind of happens.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you when. Like, it was one day when I couldn't get painkillers, and I knew somebody else who had the other thing.
And you're sicker than a dog or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, going through withdrawal.
Yeah, and you got a family to feed, and you're like, I can't work like this. Like, what do I do? The fear of withdrawal is a big driver.
Yeah.
Fearing what am I gonna do? I'm gonna be sick for weeks.
How would you describe withdrawal? What's that like?
Like, you have the flu,
Yeah.
your bones ache, you just no motivation, no energy.
The time, it seemed like minutes just crawl by, and all you can think about is like feeling better.
Yeah. It's the only thing that matters is what can I do
Yeah.
to not feel this way.
Yeah, it drives people. They would always say, like, if we could put the same energy toward following God as we put towards, searching for other stuff, but you're so desperate in that time. Or I was so desperate to
You're
survive.
blind too.
Yeah.
Like the thought of turning your life around seems like, well, hold on, that's a process. That's gonna take a long time. Like, you don't even want to. You don't want to think about it.
Yeah, you're talking about blowing up everything, changing everything.
Yeah, dropping your entire life and just falling off the face of the planet, going to teach out. Especially, you got a phone, you got access, you got clocks. At least you got a clock.
With an alarm, maybe.
No clocks in jail.
Right. You spent some time in jail?
I did. Yeah, I've done some hard time.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. I went to jail that one time. So what happened, and I use this as part of my testimony because it's my story how I got the Teen Challenge. But I had moved back from Florida after my wife had left me. Got back to Michigan to be closer to my son. I was with a girl who I kind of used. And it sounds bad, but I did. I used her to get back to Michigan because when my wife left, she took the car, emptied the bank accounts. I had nothing. I had an apartment that I couldn't afford, and school that I was 3 or 4 months away from graduating that I couldn't get to because it was an unexpected thing that happened, and I was heartbroken. So I fell back into the drugs when I got back here, almost immediately, and I started in the factories. If you work in a factory in Michigan, like, there's drugs everywhere.
Yeah.
How else are you going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again and just be okay?
True.
Like, that type of, I won't work in factories because of that. It always ended up the same way for me. Well, I got back into things in the factory. Started taking pills again. Before you know it, I'm getting heroin. My son ended up being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the middle of that mess at some point. And I know that when that happened, I had seen my ex-wife, who I was still in love with, with my son, and we had talked about getting back together. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing any more drugs. Like, we're going to make this work. Well, she changed her mind at some point, and it sent me off the deep end. And I started, I went full throttle. My dad was renting me our childhood home kind of as a favor to try to let me get on my feet while I was back here because they still owned the house.
Yeah.
And he came, saw me, knew what was going on. He was like, and I remember him just bawling, like his tears coming down. He's like, you gotta go. He's like, I can't let you stay here. I don't know where you're gonna go or where you're gonna stay, but you can't stay here. And I could tell that was like one of the hardest things that he'd ever done. And I drove off and got a campsite. I was still working full time. I had a job. Like, I was always a functioning addict. Like, I made sure I had income.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be a loser. And I continued to work. I was subcontracting, and I was living in a tent at a campground that summer. And I was, in all my off time, dude, that's all I did. I was shooting up heroin, coke, having different girls over. And,
to the tent.
Oh yeah, I could tell them, like, oh hey, this is.
Oh, that's right.
Like, yeah, I'm staying here this summer. I just got a campsite for the summer. Yeah. Say whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a constant rotation of that stuff. It was the rock star lifestyle without as much money.
Yeah.
and I lived that way. And one night, I'd been up all night with a couple different girls. They were hanging out. They wanted more coke, so I left to get more. And while I was out, I fell asleep at the wheel. And I woke up. All I remember, we're on a corner of a busy street, busy country road. But I remember waking up, getting slapped in the face. I woke up, I looked up, my sunroof was open, and there was a Muskegon cop.
He smacked you?
Yeah, smacked me across the face, and I was like, whoa. And he's like, put the car in park. So I had fallen asleep in the middle of the road with the car in drive.
Oh my god.
And so I woke up, I put it in park, and I knew I was screwed. Like, and there's like 2 cops. They had wheel chucks in front of the tires because of the car being in drive, and they couldn't get the door unlocked. So they were trying to get in, I guess, for a while. And they got in the sunroof, slapped me, woke me up, put it in park, and I'd fallen asleep with my foot on the brake pedal, or overdosed, I guess you could say. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know when I fell asleep. The last thing I remember was pulling into a Walgreens, thinking I'm really tired, I need to do some cocaine, and doing some, and then somebody asked me for a ride, and my dummy keep it rated G.
Yeah.
I ended up giving this dude a ride. I remember that. And after that, I don't remember. So, hopefully he didn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did, but that was my wake-up call, man. I knew right then and there I was done.
Yeah.
And I went to jail for 90 days. They arrested me for heroin, cocaine, and controlled substance, except a bunch of pills.
In the car?
Yeah. And they ended up dropping all the charges except for the heroin, which, because it was my first time ever being in trouble, I was allowed to have that expunged, taken off my record, as long as I completed probation. They gave me 90 days and 18 months probation, and that was it. However, I requested to go to Teen Challenge, and I had talked to my mom very first night I was in jail. She was the first person I called. I'm like, all right, like, I'll go, because she had been begging me to go.
Yeah. How'd she know about it?
About Teen Challenge?
Yeah.
Well, our church was involved. We had a lot of Assemblies of God Church, I think, has some association with Teen Challenge. And the churches that I grew up in, the churches that they were always Assemblies of God. So we'd have you guys, or us, kids like us, come and speak at our church.
Right.
You know, like give their testimony, like we do when our teams go out on Sundays. So that was how I think she knew about it. And Pastor McLean, we have history with a lot. I think my mom is friends with a couple of her daughters. They also helped start the Gateway.
Okay.
That's how I know the McLean family. He's got daughters. He's got lots of kids, I think.
You talked about your dad in a hard moment when he asked you to leave the house. What was going through your mind, or like, what are you feeling in those times?
At the time I was like, screw you, you know. You know, but you're not thinking clear, like.
Yeah.
Like, I knew damn well I was high, and that, you know, that I was screwing up. Like, wait.
But it feels like an attack. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're attacking me. You're not trying to help me. You're making my life harder right now.
Yeah.
And that was a hard decision that he had to make. But hard decisions can oftentimes be the right ones, which is why not everybody does the right thing, because it's hard sometimes. And when he did that, like, if he hadn't have done that, if he had just enabled me and let me stay there, like, you know, I probably would have. What's up, Mike?
What's up, man? I was ready.
What time is it?
I wasn't sure if you guys were like doing a thing.
Oh, you're good.
We are, but hey, this is a raw podcast.
Yeah.
This is Mike, our kitchen manager. He's pretty cool too. You want to check this?
There you go, right?
Yeah, here. We're gonna check the pork real quick here.
Yeah.
Show y'all how it's done.
Yeah, you're live. You're good, dude. This is good.
Camera shot.
Yo, can I get the camera on it?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Here we go. Live action. This is the first time doing this.
Oh, man. They were boneless, weren't they?
Woo!
I know the one box was boneless, but I don't know about the other box.
Look at that,
We
boy.
ordered them at the same time. They probably.
Yo, what do you do to those? How do you get it cooking?
So you want to do it?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
He's checking it right now. That's how we check to see if they're ready.
It unfortunately is not quite yet.
Not quite ready. So the way we tell if it's ready is you should be able to stick your fingers in there with no resistance. It should just melt right as you go straight through the bottom.
Okay.
Another way, if there's bones in there, usually we're able to pull the bones out and it'll slide right out.
Right.
No effort.
Yo, looks so good.
Can't give away all the secrets. The guy we got the recipes from was doing 18 briskets 4 times a week. You can imagine how much brisket he was selling. But he knew what he was doing. I put 2 on there.
Oh, did you? I'm gonna take this to the kitchen, use it for something.
Alright. What are you gonna do with it? Give it a pipe?
This is fine. But that kind of.
Check. We're starting to wrap stuff up.
Oh yeah. It's been relatively really slow.
Happy Jakes.
Happy Jakes, liquor, bait, and grub.
I took a picture of the sign too, so we'll get
Did ya?
and then I'll.
Woo! Smoke in my eyes. Come home smelling like smoke every night. My wife's. She doesn't mind.
It's different now.
It's a different kind of smoke.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, we were talking about your dad.
Yeah, and that being a hard decision,
Yeah.
and what was going through my mind. And like I said, yeah, it's like I knew I was wrong, so it's like at the same time it's like I'm gonna be mad at him for doing the. Would you let you stay at your house? Like
Right. Never.
no. And I'm sure when you walked in, because I didn't know he was coming. I'm sure it smelled great in there,
Yeah.
like skunks and.
You also
crap.
have two
I'm just kidding.
You also have two younger brothers.
I do, yeah. Jake is my youngest. He's the one who I'm in this business with. Nick is my middle brother. He is 26. And he does construction, a little bit of he does a lot of side jobs too on the weekends. And we're trying to convince him to come help us.
Yeah.
Because there's been talk about possibly doing a food truck, and Nick has extensive experience in the restaurant industry, especially with food trucks. He did it down in Florida for a long time. He ran a pizza shop for a while, and then ran a food truck that did lobster and crab. And they go to different festivals and stuff. So he's got the knowledge. And Nick, you see this?
Yo, what was it like for them, or what was it like for you? I guess you have a responsibility as an older brother. Or did you ever feel that?
I've thought about that as an older brother, because my mom and dad would always tell me, like, do you realize that to your younger brothers, you're Superman?
Yeah.
Like, you're their hero. Like, they want to be just like you, so you better make sure you're doing. And I say the same thing to my son now. Like Tanner's 14, and we got Tucker who's 3, and he just like he wants to be his brother. And then now I see it, and it's weird because I think I understand now more than I did back then, seeing my son and seeing how my little one looks up to him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that's how my brothers were. When I was older, when we were younger, like that's the way Tucker looks up to Tanner is how my brothers would have looked up to me, and I'm like, jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it at the time.
Did they become your strength, or like did you end up looking up to them as you were struggling, or?
I don't think no, because when I was struggling, I was kind of like off on my own a lot of times. Like I didn't have relationships really well, like with either brother.
Yeah.
Like I would speak to him every now and then, and Nick and I got into some trouble together. Jake has been an encouragement to me for sure. He's given me the opportunity, at this store to become part ownership in the store. Whereas like me, somebody who's 34 with no career path really, other than the fire protection I did for 6 years, which sucked. I don't have a lot of options, like an opportunity to become part owner of something that we're going to make self-sustainable and build together. Like the fact that he trusts me, knowing everything that I've done, like that's been a really big encouragement. And I think he's helped me become more confident in myself and my ability to lead, like as a manager, he's helping me to be more assertive. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Jake's very assertive, like to a fault, like to the point where people take him the wrong way, and I got to go back to our employees and be like, "No, you didn't mean it like that. Like, chill out."
Yeah.
And where I'm the complete opposite, like you. Like I'm very passive. I don't want any trouble. I'm not trying to upset you, but you're fired. It's like so we balance each other out. Jake's helped a lot and Nick's coming around. Nick is coming around. Nick had his own struggles and he kind of veered off. But like, I read something the other day. I think it was the verse of the day. It was the train children up in the way that they should go, and they will not falter from it. That verse I read, and I thought about my brother Nick, and I thought about me, and how we were raised. And I think it was a meme that I saw, and I was like, man. I was like, that's so true. Like, if you teach them when they're young, like, that's what they fall back on, because, I mean, that's what I went through. Because I knew the grace of God, and I knew the gospel, and I knew it, but I didn't really know it, because I had never experienced God's love and grace until I fell as hard as I fell.
Yeah.
Because I was born into, like, such a blessed family. Like, I didn't know hardship.
Yeah.
So I took for granted God's grace and His forgiveness, and I didn't really know it until I needed it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Heck yeah. Because it feels like coming back home. That was the thing for me too, is like, I didn't know how good I had it until you come back to it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is life. Like, this is life itself. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about that exact verse today.
Yeah.
Because I think I knew that you were a Christian before, or
I called
taught that
myself
way.
a Christian.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, I never needed God's grace because I was born into such a blessed family. Like sure, we had faults, but like in reality, big picture, like, you know, living that other life and being around people who had different types of families and seeing the way they live, and then looking back, like, I would never introduce any of those people to my mom and dad. Like, they're so complete opposite.
Right.
You know, not to be judgmental or anything, but at the same time, it's like, you don't realize what you have until you see the other side. And I think that's sometimes maybe that's what a lot of us needed.
Yeah.
You know? Everything happens for a reason.
Dude, I think God is going to use that in America, because America has grown up as a Christian nation.
It's based on it.
And I believe He's going to call them back to it.
Dude, I could not agree. I smell revival, dude. Like, it is coming.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, and it excites me.
For sure.
Because I'm seeing more and more younger people fall back on the truth. And through all of this, like all the news and media being lied to, and all the corruption that goes, it's all shady. No matter what, you can listen to CNN. That can be your news station. Well, guess what? People that were listening to CNN last year aren't listening anymore because it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Like everything they said either was proved wrong or came out to be false. Like they misled a lot of people. I'm pretty sure their viewership, if I remember correctly, is falling off the cliff. Like, it's bad.
People are hungry for the truth now.
They want the truth.
Yeah.
100%. Dude, and that's what I'm saying. Like, God uses people in their sin.
Yeah.
And he pretty much gave them the rope to hang themselves with. Really, if you think about it, like, not to say all the leftists are like that, but like the media and the people that are trying to steer people the wrong way, like Hollywood and all that dirt, all that crap they're pumping into these kids' heads, like, people are gonna wake up and it's gonna come back to bite them.
Yeah.
You know, people are just gonna stop watching, like they have with CNN.
We're definitely in need of a savior. What was it like? Are there any people that you look up to? As far as like maybe a worship leader that, like, this guy inspires me. Because, dude, I've told you, you really did inspire me. Like, as a student, I came in the program, and to see a guy who is like, man, you're on stage, worship leader, I just think that's a big deal. And I haven't always seen that, or maybe...
That was a humbling experience for me, dude, because I didn't come in trying to be a worship leader.
Yeah.
I wanted to play that piano really bad, but I didn't sing. I didn't have the confidence to sing, and I still struggle with it. I'm always trying to get better. I sing a lot just to try to get better, but...
I was so privileged to be able to see you guys as a collective, dude.
Wasn't it? That was good.
That was
I've been
amazing.
back since then, and I haven't seen anything. It was so... I won't say chemical, but like it was like...
Yeah, the
it was
chemistry.
special. It was chemistry. It was special what we had with Matt Measley, Brandon, me, Pete.
Dude, Brandon on the drums.
He never even played the drums really. He messed around.
He was good.
He got good quick.
yeah, I felt so like blessed to just. It was like what I needed when I needed it. And that's been like kind of a theme with me. Like God will show up. Other times that maybe He's shown up for you in a way you didn't expect.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's such a personal
It's
thing.
never in a way you expect.
Yeah.
It's always in a way, yeah. Don't try to expect anything because it's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
I've learned that. Yeah, dude. He's definitely. Man, I've had struggles. I've had struggles since then. Like I told you this story, like, and I'll say it now, and I hope I don't, hope my mom doesn't get sad or anybody if she sees this. But like a few, like 2 years in, there was a guy I was training at the fire protection place, and he just so happened to have been using drugs. And it's funny because I used my testimony. First day I met him, I was training him. Told him my testimony, and his response was, "Oh yeah, dude." He's like, "I'm on Suboxone for that."
Yeah.
And right then and there, we became friends. And before you know it, I'm dabbling in that stuff and dabbling in other drugs that I had no business being in. And within a couple weeks, he got let go. And I believe that was the Lord working in a way that I didn't expect. And even though he got let go, I was continuing to go back to this dude, even after he was fired because he lived near the shop. And I was getting drugs from him. Well, the Lord took his life in a head-on collision about a week after he got fired, so then there was no more drugs for me.
Yeah.
That was another way I didn't think, and that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like, that was God. Like, I heard his voice in that situation without a doubt. Like, that was God saying, like, I have a plan for you, and I'm not going to let anything mess it up.
Yeah.
Like, even if it means. So I'm like, I got to be careful what I deal with. You know? Like, if I'm going to mess up, a person's life's in danger right there.
Right. Yeah, because such a strong calling on your life.
I feel that way. I do. And I even though I'm so old, I feel like it's just begun. It's different. It's a weird feeling, like being 34 and just getting into like the church I'm in now. It's a new church, a New Life Church in Portage. We've been having our services at the middle school for as long as I've been there, almost, I think about 2 years maybe. And our worship team, dude, it's what drew me to the church. They're so amazing. Like they all play in like gig bands and stuff on the side.
Yeah.
At different bars and stuff. They're all like really extremely musically talented. The music director, went to school for it. We have people on the team who went to Hillsong School of Music. Maddie, she's an amazing singer, and I've been able to learn and pick up so much from that. Like leading worship one way at Team Challenge is one thing.
Yeah.
You go into that service and everybody's on fire. They're ready to jump up and down and speak in tongues and get slain in the spirit. Like they want it. Like they're hungry. And it was and there's a lot of freedom in that. But at the same time, the professionalism was lacked. It lacks a little bit over there. Whereas like I come to this church and we have a click track where like I have a click in my ear that I have to wear, and I have a mix where like I'm supposed to be in charge of what I hear and how much, and I had no idea how to use this stuff. And all of a sudden I have a 1, 2, 3 in my ear while I'm trying to play.
Oh my God.
And it's like, it was such a learning, it's still a learning experience. Like I'm learning so much. And I got really off track there, but.
No, I'm glad you said, dude, there's this Hillsong song that it says, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't let your heart be troubled. So don't let your heart be troubled.
Yes, I know the song.
Hold your head up high. Don't fear no evil. And it says, keep your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you.
Yes.
So take courage, hold on. Be strong, remember where your help comes from. And there were so many times I laid,
Okay.
dude, I laid in my bunk, and dude, I'd be like crying, but really like leaning on to that, like that God had a plan and purpose. And I'm wondering if there's any worship songs that you hold on to that, have really helped you through something.
No Longer Slaves was a big one that helped me.
Yeah.
To Teen Challenge.
Dude.
Because I wasn't ready to sing. Dude. The worship leader, who was it? What was that guy's name, dude? I should know this because I know him well. I saw him at an Elevation concert last summer.
Mac Brock, maybe?
No. He's the worship leader before me.
Oh, at TC.
Yes. Does lawn care.
Joe, maybe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Zagaroli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have this thing they do at Teen Challenge where they have this. It's an old Epiphone guitar head that was broken, and they would give it to the person who was going to be the next worship leader. Well, he left, and he found out I could play piano, so he had me come up there. I snuck up there one day during work duties,
Yeah.
and he's like, get on piano real quick. And he started playing a song on guitar, and I played along with him, and then he's like, all right, take the guitar. Took the guitar, and he started playing on piano and singing, and I played along with him. He's like, all right, yeah, you're good. And then, like, he graduated that next week and handed me that thing, and he's like, you're the new worship leader.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I don't sing. I remember this perfectly. He said, well, you do. I'm like, okay. And I was so nervous, dude, and then Matt Measley comes up on the team.
Amazing.
Who's played in a frickin' bluegrass band,
Yeah.
traveled, like, sings amazing, and I'm the worship leader. And I'm like, I did not feel good.
Yeah.
It humbled me, and it still keeps me humble. Like, I don't feel qualified.
Do you feel like it caused you to live up to that, though, in a way?
It
Or maybe take it on inside?
is like, take it on as like this is who I am.
Like you were given responsibility.
Yes.
And in a way, sometimes that can elevate people, like they rise to the occasion.
To a certain extent, but I still think that even now I still hold back. Like when I'm singing in the car,
Yeah.
I can sing way better than when I'm singing in front of people because I'm singing to God and it's just me.
Yeah.
But when I'm in front of people, the human nature, the flesh, pulls at you.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to do things a certain way, or like I'll sing a song a certain way when I'm alone and I know it sounds good, but I won't do it. I'll hold back when I'm in front of people.
Yeah.
But it has, being forced to do that has definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone and taught me that in order for things to change, I texted you this earlier too
Yeah.
about something else. There's an uncomfortability factor. Like change is not comfortable.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people don't ever change because it feels so uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural.
It hurts.
It does.
Yeah.
Growing pains.
Growing bits.
That's why they call it that. Because when you grow, it hurts. When you change old habits, it's painful. It's hard. Sometimes you got to cut people out of your life that you love and care about, but they're just not good for you. And it's a never-ending learning process. Dude. I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
Not even close. But
I think I knew I was different when I worshipped alone one time. And I came to the realization, oh, I really like doing this, or
what does
I
it
felt
do
like-
for you?
dude, I felt like I could be my true self. I think you mentioned that, but
It's like just you and God in the room, and you don't feel like you have to put a show on for anybody or impress anybody.
it's rest. It's real rest for me,
And that's the point that I want to get to when I sing.
Yeah.
Because I know when I'm in that zone, when I don't care, that's when I'm giving it my best. That's my true self. And I think it's just getting to that point where you're comfortable with who you are in God,
Yeah.
who God says you are, not who everybody else. When you get to that point, I think that's when you peak, with your ability to reach other people and give it your absolute best. That's my opinion. I think that's when I give my absolute best, is when it's just me and God, and I'm not thinking about anybody else because it doesn't matter what they say.
Yeah. Where does being prepared fall into that?
That's important too. I think that if you're gonna give it your best, you better prepare. God expects you to prepare for things.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go you're gonna go sing a song for God, if you're not gonna practice that a million times,
Yeah. True.
Preparation is I feel like it's biblical. It's expected, and I also feel like you're held to a higher standard too. I know it says in the Word for leaders and teachers to live above reproach, and we talked about that a lot as staff members.
Yeah.
Teach out, live above reproach. You see that guy taking an extra Hawaiian roll at dinner, like don't be the one to join in, be the one to say something. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. You don't gotta live like that anymore.
That's hard to do. Especially like we talked about, like for me, I don't want any conflict.
You don't want conflict, you don't want to upset people.
Yeah.
But I think there's a healthy conflict.
Yeah.
There's a healthy type of conflict that needs to happen, especially as Christians and brothers. You know, holding each other accountable for things. Like, you can't just keep your mouth shut. Why the dude ties a millstone around his neck and jumps off the bridge?
Yeah.
You just not say anything to try to prevent it?
I learned that lesson the hard way, I think. There was a good buddy that I would talk to, and he was actively like using, you know, and I thought I was gonna be the guy I'll just be there for him, you know. And he would call all the time, and we'd talk, and I never said what I should have. Maybe like, hey, this needs to stop. Like, I don't want to. And he ended up passing away. And
Do you feel like
I don't know. Maybe I felt
guilt?
guilt. Yeah. But I think I would always feel guilt, or like, you know.
Did you ever talk to him about God?
Yeah, for sure. He was
So
a guy
maybe-
from TC.
So maybe, like we said, you know, I think God takes people certain times when He knows that their heart is in the right place, and He knows they'll be in heaven if they die.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, maybe if He didn't take their life, that their heart wouldn't be in the same place, and they wouldn't be following Christ. They wouldn't be, you know, living for Him. So whether He overdosed or not, you know, we don't know what He was thinking in those last few minutes. Like, He could have been thinking, I'm so sorry, Lord, I did way too much, Lord. If you're taking me right now, please accept me, forgive me. You know, forgive me for my sins. I'm sorry. Take care of my. We don't know what He was thinking.
Yeah.
You know, in those last few seconds. So I mean, God wants us in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, He wants us all there.
That's why we're here to show other people, so that we can all be. It's the whole reason we're here.
Right. Yeah, to guide other people to heaven. That's a worship leader, right? To usher in other people to the presence of God.
I think it's a worship leader. It's a pastor. It's
Yeah.
an evangelist. It's you being you, putting out a podcast that other people might see, who maybe they are struggling, or maybe they have a son or a daughter. You know, like, we don't know these seeds that we're planting by talking about this stuff. God's using you in your podcast right now. It doesn't just have to be a worship leader. He's given us all different gifts, and you have a gift of knowing what good content is, knowing what people want, being able to read that and asking really good questions. Like, the way you think is different, and God made you that way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So,
Yeah. I appreciate that.
so God's using you just as much as He's using a worship leader
Yeah.
in different ways to reach different people.
Yeah, we're all like a specialized tool to reach someone.
Like a custom built
Yeah.
tool.
And the people you can reach is different than the people I can reach.
Sure. And it doesn't even have to be through worship. It could be through me sharing my story, you know?
Yeah, owning a store, you know? Dude, that's wild. Yeah, we talked about some of the classes we went to. Christian Family, Pastor Dave.
Key class.
One of the best. And maybe it's because Pastor Dave was such a good teacher, too. But he emulated the things he taught. You know, like when he said, like, it's important to say something immediately, follow through. He was always like that. Are there things you think you picked up in that class that you still follow today?
100%. That class, because I was raised that way. So, like, that was one of the only classes I got A's in. Because I knew all the answers, but I had not lived them. I had not practiced them with my family. So that class, man, I loved Christian Family. That was one of my favorites. That and the spiritual gifts, learning about your spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of that one was. But the Christian Family class has given me so much insight and understanding when it comes to raising kids and being a husband and what that means. a godly way, and I do not have it down. I suck at it, dude. I'm still really bad, but I know the things that I need to do. I know the ways that I need to act, and God shows me the areas that I need work in because I carry that relationship with Him on a daily basis, and He convicts me, and I start to see things, you know, when I'm screwing up, and I'm not treating my wife the best, or not being the best example for my kids. Like I feel that conviction, and it's because of that class. Like I echo those words that I hear about what it means to be a leader of a family, and that class is. Yeah, I was just telling you that the other day. Not the other day. It was a couple months ago. I pulled out all my paperwork for Christian Family, and I was like reading through it, and I'm like, oh yeah, yep, I could use some work there. Yep.
Right. God has a good way of bringing that stuff to light, like what we need to change or whatever.
Anything done in the dark is brought to the light.
Yeah.
You can run on for a long time.
Yeah.
Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God's gonna cut you. Johnny Cash song.
Oh, nice.
God's gonna cut you down. Anyways, everything in my experience, you can't hide anything.
Yeah.
You can fake it all you want. One day, you're gonna be exposed.
Yeah.
Everything's brought to the light, and He'll bring that stuff. Yeah, to me personally, God will show me things that I need to work on. Like, you probably go through the same things with things that you're working on, the way you treat people, the decisions that you made. The way I speak to my wife, the way I, portray a dad who goes to church and plays guitar on stage and piano to my kids. Like, they see that. What do I want them to think that is? Do I want them to think like I'm up there playing on stage at church, but then I come home on the week and I'm just, get wasted every night, coming home, beating up on my wife.
Yeah.
Their worldview is being formed right now, and it's important as the leader to work on those things and admit when you're wrong and find those faults and improve on them. Show your sons that you are a work in progress and that you're not perfect and that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
That's important too.
Yeah, that it's okay to fail.
It's okay to fail, and as long as you're learning from those failures.
Yeah.
Failure is good. The world has it flipped.
Yeah. That's a tough one to stomach. But failure is good.
Get comfortable failing if you want to get better at anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're lifting weights, you lift until you can't do it anymore, and you do that over and over again until you can.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
I think. I haven't lifted weights in a while.
Same concept, I think.
Yeah.
Yo, is there a verse that's like your favorite verse or something that you...
Favorite verse? I still, the one I just sang in that song a little bit about is the rejoice in your suffering. Because suffering brings character brings hope. That has helped me through life after TC more than anything. It's helped me to not get discouraged when I fail. It's helped me to push through and rejoice in my sufferings, sing on stage when I'm not doing well. Like we talked about that verse. I can't remember exactly what the address is to that verse, but that verse has helped me. And I think it's the verse I quoted when I gave my final testimony at graduation. To rejoice in my sufferings. And I've leaned on that more than any other verse.
What was graduation like? Finishing a hard thing?
It was exciting, dude, and I think you would probably agree, like, you don't know what you're walking out into.
Yeah.
Like, you think you just accomplished something? Boy.
Yeah.
It's tough out here.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
You get a good foundation in there, but it's up to you to make those hard decisions when they come. It's up to you to set yourself up for success. Like, I know if I would have moved back to my hometown after that, I can't say I'd be where I'm at today. But God made a way for me to move away.
Has there been anyone from your hometown that has seen you now and been like, wow, God is real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. I've had lots of friends reach out. Believe it or not. I think one the other day that really surprised me. It was a post he put on Facebook. He was a big partier back in the day. Never would have thought he leaned on God, but he said, and he swore in his post that he's okay.
Yeah.
He's a new Christian and I love him. But he said, I think it's hilarious how all of my friends are now turning to God, finally, after all of the SHIT that the media has put out and woken everybody up. Something like that. Like,
yeah.
Woken everybody up on my friends are turning to God. And he had a lot of likes on it too. And I'm like, likes from friends that I know were not living that way before.
Yeah.
And I know my old friends see me and they see my profile picture of me leading worship on stage and they've messaged me and been like, dude, I'm so happy for you. Like,
yeah.
You've been an encouragement. Like, I've been able to help a lot of people through my pain and my suffering.
Yeah, that's wild. Something you never expect.
No.
It's an honor too. That someone would see your life.
It makes it all worth it.
And praise God.
It makes all that pain and suffering worth it.
Yeah.
God was using me regardless of where I was at. And that's something I've always prayed, not always prayed, it's something I started recently praying. Asking God to use me even in my sin when I'm screwing up.
Yeah.
Like use my mistakes to show other people, what God can do.
It's easy to think those times are wasted. That like I'm stuck in this sin that I'm not being used, but dude, God will use. That was a big revelation for me. That God would still use me in my mess, and it always kind of feels like my mess. Like even my good time can feel like a mess, because I just know I'm aware of how I fall short.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are our own worst critics. And if you're like me, which I think you are, that's kind of why we quit. We're very critical, self-critical of ourselves.
Yeah.
Perfection is something that is always sought for but never attained, and it can be discouraging, for sure.
Dude, what was it like being in dorms with a bunch of dudes who were similar to us, by the way?
Dude, we had such a good group, and
Yeah.
we were blessed. Yeah, we had an awesome group. A bunch of guys our age, and it was a good thing we didn't know any of them when we were doing our thing, because we'd probably all be dead right now.
Yeah, I always say.
But we just clicked. It was just like chemistry.
Yeah.
We had a really good group. And I don't know because I'm not there, but I haven't seen it. Since I've gone back, I don't see groups of guys like that.
I think
Not like we had.
I think it's different, but everyone kind of. What I noticed going back, I saw the same guys with different faces. No joke, and each one would remind me of someone else.
Yeah.
And I needed that at the time, I think, because, man, you guys became my family.
Sure, absolutely.
I still feel that,
You
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
What I like about it, too, is, we pick up where we left off. And I think something was formed. God had intended us to do this, but...
Well, I think that's the church. That's what the church is for. The church was designed to self-sustain. A brotherhood, a community. I think the way it was intended, really, not literally, but if we had all one pool of money, and we all came together and threw in, we all just helped each other out, we could survive if the church was like that. It's not always like that. Sometimes it is. But I think it's designed to be like a community like that, where everybody pitches in and everybody helps each other out. We pick each other up when we fall. We encourage each other. We speak life into each other. It should be like that. A family.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even explain the amount of encouragement and strength I've gotten from other believers. And you know what was cool, dude? When we'd go and do a rally, and we'd end up in some church in some place that I had never been, and they would just accept you, bring you in. If you come under the name of Christ, you're accepted and loved.
Yeah.
And they would show us so much love, dude. They would feed us. And we'd see how somehow like our mess would encourage them too.
Yeah.
But they would encourage us, and it just felt like we would feed off each other. Super special.
It is. It is.
And I think it's what America needs right now. Our nation, our world. And I think they're going to get it.
Dude, I'm excited. I really do. Like I said, I think there's revival on the brink right now. Like it's very close.
For someone who doesn't know what revival is, how would you describe it?
I would say revival is like an outbreak of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
A presence so strong that you can't deny it.
Yeah.
A presence that is so strong that you don't want to leave. And you end up spending the night.
Yeah.
Praising God.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to leave the presence. And I've seen glimpses of it, man. Like, I mean, growing up, the church I was in Ohio, they were on fire, dude. Like, I grew up seeing people get slain in the spirit, speaking in tongues, demons getting casted out of people. And I didn't understand it at the time because it was so normal.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
really?
Like it was, well, yeah, because I grew up in that. Like, I grew up in the Assemblies of God in a church that was on fire. And it just became like, it's normal. Now, when I got the Teen Challenge, I hadn't been in that atmosphere in a long time. And even as somebody who grew up in it, it felt weird.
Yeah.
First service, they're speaking in tongues. It's like, okay, this is a little excessive.
Right.
Chill out. Like, but, you start to understand it the more you're there. And it's like, okay, like I need this.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered about that, like with newcomers. Like I always wondered how many people that would scare away.
Yeah. True.
Because a lot of people these days are like, we'll drink the Kool-Aid.
Right. But people are skeptical right now as is, like very skeptical about our nation, about everything. There's a lot of conspiracies.
You think revival's about to break out?
Definitely, 100%. I know it deep down in a way I don't even know how to articulate, because I see the need for it, and I see I think people are genuinely going to start experiencing God in a way they haven't maybe.
Yeah.
And it's going to be life. It's going to be so different to what we've been a part of.
Do you ever wonder if the return of Christ may not be exactly how the Left Behind series embodied it? Like, do you ever wonder, what if the return of Christ is a revival?
Yeah.
Where everybody gets saved, except for a few.
Yeah.
I haven't dug into, there's other aspects of Revelation that we could argue over about what they mean. But do you ever wonder, if maybe, it's not going to just be everybody disappears and their clothes are left laying there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if anything, they're going to be here.
Yeah. Well, heaven will be on earth eventually.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I do like it. I love thinking about that stuff all the time. And I do think about it. I've never articulated it to someone or tried to, but I'm always think about that.
Because we won't know until it happens.
Because aren't we in a redeemed world? People, I grew up, everything I've always heard, someone says, you're in a fallen world. This is a fallen world. Christ died and saved us. Doesn't that make us redeemed? Doesn't it make the world redeemed?
Yeah, if you accept it, technically, yes. He died for our sins. We are redeemed. You have to accept that love and believe it.
Yeah. So if we're building heaven here now, I don't think there's we wait for our trip to the sky.
Right. I don't think it's anything like we think.
No.
There's a spiritual realm, I believe, that we can't see, and it's very real, without a doubt. And demons are very real. I think a lot of people come into Teen Challenge with those demons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're not demons like you think they would be. It could be a demon. It could be jealousy. It could be
a mindset.
envy. Yes, that's the demonic spirit that people may carry with them. Or like a lot of kids have now these days is the victim mentality. I think that's a demonic spirit. Oh, woe is me, poor me.
All this happened to me.
Yeah, I deserve this.
when we're called to take responsibility for our action. And like, dude, in
Ownership.
Christian family, I think that's where he talked about, Pastor Dave would talk about, I don't want to get this wrong either, but the man would take responsibility for the action.
Of his family.
And like where Adam faulted, like when Eve took it, like it was his responsibility to not have that happen,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, he took ownership
Yeah.
for even her sin, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I think that's what he was supposed to do, right?
Yeah, I think that's I think you're right. I think ownership is something that is lacking
Yeah.
big time nowadays, especially with young men. Sorry guys, I just gotta feed this fire. It's a
Yeah.
little cool. We need to get into that. I don't want to be here all night. Yeah, men taking ownership
Yeah.
is a huge problem in society. Now Satan knows a Christian family, like how do I say this? The framework of a Christian family is what our society is based on. The male is the leader, the wife is the helpmate. He leads, she follows, and the kids learn from that. And that the Christian family has been torn apart in America, all over the world. I mean, half of these guys who come to the Teen Challenge don't even have a dad.
Yeah.
So they had nobody to learn from. Like the absence of fathers in society is, I think, something that Satan has done, you know, to our society, because
Yeah.
he knew if he can take out the head, like there's no one to lead the family.
Right.
So he distracts us men. I think we have a bigger target on our backs. You know, it's much easier to just quit a family, leave, go find someone. Oh, this is hard. We'll just get a divorce like everybody else. Like,
Yeah, and then you start almost making that divorce like justifying because other people.
oh yeah,
It's like a way.
well, it's a common thing. Everybody gets divorced,
Yeah.
and that's not okay. You
Yeah.
shouldn't just leave for no reason. You should fight.
Yo, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh man,
I'm
let's go get some brisket.
I'm down for that. Would you end on the same song you started with?
Yeah, I'll try.
Sick. All right.
We'll try it.
Yeah, I really do appreciate things. I know I've mentioned it, but I like being able to use this to just be thankful for you
Yeah.
and your
man.
friendship. And
I'm looking forward to see what God has planned for you, dude. I'm excited for you. I think you're gonna do well with this.
thank you.
It's helping a lot of people.
Appreciate
I
it.
was in tears watching a couple of them.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, man. And it might not even be something that pertained to me, but it was just something that tugged, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm glad you're doing it.
Praise God. Dude. Thank you.
Yeah. Amen.
All right.
Lord, I thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. I thank you for joy. I thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's unavoidable in life, it takes some hits. Yeah, there's gonna be some days you might feel like it's the end. But if we praise His name, rejoice in all our suffering. Yeah, it's only temporary, only temporary. You know how this stuff. Thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain. I thank you for joy, I thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Ooh. All right.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
dude.
man.
Appreciate it. Love it. dude.
Imperfect, but beautiful.